Everybody, can I just get your attention? We're now back in full open session, and we're at the end of a pretty long day, and we'll try to bring this to a closure. We will bring it to closure in 15 minutes. So we're going to do one small exercise, which is very quick, 30 seconds, walk around each table, and for somebody, I'm sure your facilitator has worked this out, for somebody to make just a closing remark from what you've been discussing, particular point. I know you won't be raising all of the points from your table, but just within 30 seconds or so, certainly just what you want to reflect back from your table. We've 15 tables, so it's 15 minutes. I'm not going to go 1 to 15 because then you're all just prepared, and then the table 15 has the longest statement than ever. So I'm just going to call out numbers randomly to keep you all on your guard, okay? So we'll start at table number 4. If you can, please, rep from the table. Just stand up and reflect some of the issues that you've, comments that you want to make from the table. Table 4. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Our table decided that we'd like to look at the opportunity, rather than using terminologies such as working class or middle class, can we go to the less marginalised, disadvantaged or privileged, as we believe they are less stigma, they don't have such stigma towards them. And we just have a second one. Maybe people would like the possibility of having a walking lunch option, i.e. a lunch bag that could be given to us, so we can take a bit of fresh air as well, because we felt that we didn't get a chance to go out for a walk or whatever. Just an option coming into summer. Thank you.
Thanks very much. And again, I'm not trying to push people, but 2 points there raised, which would take away. Table number 7.
Hello. Very informative day for the first day. Really enlightening. We had one discussion was about the slides. We were wondering at the end of a talk, could we possibly get the slides? So at the table, because there were some issues sometimes about percentages, and somebody might have said, you know, I thought it was this percentage, and then somebody else said, no, I thought it was this, and it'd be nice to have the slides to be able to give them facts and figures.
Thank you, and we'll come back just to give summary answers if we can, some repetition that might emerge. So thank you again for being brief, really appreciate it. Table 13.
Hello. We had a discussion over terminology, and we thought maybe we'll start the ball rolling by banning some words. Things like junkie, crackhead, scumbag. Obviously not using them here, but if we could encourage the wider world and indeed the press to stop using derogatory words like that, because the more they're used to describe the people we're here trying to help, the more those people will believe that's what they are. So if we can encourage a more respectful outlook towards the people we're here to help, we thought that would be a good start. Okay. And the other thing we actually did think of, that maybe some people might be upset by certain topics at some point. Is there anything in place where they could get in touch with the Assembly or somebody at the Assembly to discuss anything that has actually touched them? Is there a phone line or something of that ilk?
Thank you very much, and you just stole more than 30 seconds, but really good points made, so well done.
You can't shut me up.
Okay, can I go now to table 15, please? The walk around mics, don't know where they're going next.
Hi, yeah, it's been a very enlightening day, all right, so hopefully more of the same tomorrow. We were kind of talking when deliberations become heated or maybe slightly personal, or people are telling personal stories, just for the members of the Citizens' Assembly to just try and remain respectful within their communication, listen and try and communicate and focus on the solutions as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Really good point made again, and we will revert just to some of these points shortly. Table 2.
Yeah, we came at it from 2 perspectives in terms of the self-care. We thought there should be organisational support of some sort, in the form maybe of somebody on site that a person could go to if they were triggered by something, to have a chat and maybe go outside if there was a breakout room or something like that, or an employee assistance program type approach, that there was a phone line, something. And then on the personal side, then there's the individual side of being responsible for your own self-care and knowing your triggers, and maybe having, if you had time, to have a self-care, maybe 10 or 15-minute presentation by somebody experienced in the area, just to help people know how to care for themselves. And then speaking to the listening and hearing piece, peer support within the table to allow people to tell their stories. And there was also a suggestion to bring in some therapeutic animals.
Thank you. Let that not be any encouragement for any table think they can get 3 issues in, including animals. Okay, table 3, please.
Thank you. We have a couple of comments on language and terminology. We feel there is a need for agreed upon terminology for the purposes of this assembly. Example, the difference between illicit and illegal drugs, because we found that there is a difference, and between decriminalisation and legislation, and also the categorisation of different drugs as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And some very strong points that are certainly in my head as well, just where I'm at as well, and understanding some of the differentiation. So, well made. Table 1.
Our topic is the same, the use of words, and we agree with table 3, with what you said. And at this table, for example, we decided that the word drug user is a more comprehensive term than drug addict, and covers those who have problematic and non-problematic use of drugs.
Thank you very much indeed. Table 1, again, excellent points. Some reinforced, which come through strongly. Table 11.
Thanks very much. We were reflecting on language and communication, and we were suggesting that we encourage each other to focus on the intention of what we're trying to say, rather than worrying too much about the specific language at any given moment. And following on from that, we would encourage everyone to be bold in their questioning and recommendations as we go through the process.
Thank you very much. Table 6.
Sorry, Paul, can I just add that I'm a yoga teacher, and for self-care I'd be happy to do a class pre-breakfast in the morning any weekend. So just something, let me know if the Assembly is happy.
Well done indeed, and thank you very much for saying that. Yeah. You're going to be overwhelmed. Thank you, well done, appreciate it. Table 6, was it called that time, did I?
Hi.
Table
Yeah,
6.
sorry, Karina here, just from Table 6. We were just looking at self-care, and we just wanted to say, at this point anyway, thank you, instead of asking for something. So we are just grateful to have the time to go back to the room, to reflect, relax and unwind from the long day. Yeah, so thank you.
Good. Well done, well done. Here is right. Yeah. Sorry, Table 9.
Yeah, so we came up with a lot of the suggestions that other people said, particularly about you know, if anybody needed assistance or were triggered by anything that was talked about during the day, and we also thought about perhaps like stories of presentation, which might include abuse or abusive stories. We might get a warning beforehand, so I guess people might find it upsetting.
Thank you very much. Table 12, if I haven't called you already. Don't think I have.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of the points have been hit already, but in terms of the hearing and listening, we also agree that we were happy for facilitators to step in and kind of, if things are getting too heated, to kind of keep everything calm. And on the language, we suggest that if there's going to be set terms such as like legalisation and decriminalisation, that might get kind of mixed up, that these terms are defined before they're kind of just put out, just in case people don't know.
Yeah, Thank you again. Well made. Table 8.
Hi. We especially wanted to focus on inclusion, and especially those who are impacted the most to be included into the conversation to drive the change. One of our speakers actually said, meet the people where they are and speak to the people who are directly involved. So make them part of us and listen to them, the most importantly as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And we'll come back to that as well. That was table 14.
Hi. So here at table 14, we more or less agreed that we're going to keep everything open. Not too many limitations on the language. We're more or less agreed that we're all adults around the table. And not to take things too much personally, but we also agreed upon that if something was to get a bit heated or if someone was to get a bit upset, we can go outside. There's a great view, take a walk, grab an ice cream.
Very good, thank you. Table 10, please.
Thank you. Hi, thank you. Yeah, we're just here, we're happy to be here. We're listening to each other, learning from each other, and we're treating each other with dignity and respect. Thank you.
Well said, thank you. Table 5. I want to call it already.
Oh yeah, so a lot of our stuff has been said already, but we talked about confidentiality and not talked about stuff publicly outside of the Citizen Assembly. But we were talking about, like, say, if the whole Citizen Assembly is mixing at the bar, not to be like disclosing very personal things that you've heard at your own table, and that there could be like confidentiality within the tables as well.
A really good one, really good. Table 9 is waiting anxiously if I haven't called you already. Table 9, we got to grab you. Okay, apologies, I forgot to make you off. Every table got it? Yeah, everybody so far. So look, can I just make a few comments on them generally, and Cathal might as well, just before we close. Language came up from two perspectives, both the language that's used in terms of drug use and the language that might be used in the deliberations and discussions at the table. And certainly on the issue of the drug use, there is some research done from users in particular about what they feel is appropriate language. So people might say drug users, but actually are people drug addicts? People might find that offences as well. And we've come across some research and some papers that we can share with you all about, not just from an Irish perspective, European perspective, what is the kind of preferred language to use around some of this. So I think that's a piece we can bring to you during the Assembly as well. I think I've certainly learned from it. And then the language at the table that many of you spoke around again, which is about respect and dignity. And things will be challenging and people will be in different places. And we should always respect that. And I think, you know, from everything I've seen today, and I'm glad somebody said it, the facilitators are helping that process. But, you know, that is really important to keep at the top of our radar all the time. There were a few tactical issues, what people raised around self-supports. Really well made, but we have it solved. You know, no, a really strong point and really well made. And let us take that away and just think about what wider supports we can have available throughout the process, or even outside the process, that it might be more appropriate for people. And we will do that. So let us just take that one away, if that's fair enough, Cathal, yeah? And I'll pass to you now. The slides will be available. We'll always load them up on the on your members' site, so we make sure that that's there, and we're conscious, and we'll aim for the next one to have more infographics around as well for visible displays of it. Self-care came up quite strongly. I'm just trying to look, just on the couple of other ones I'd just like to say. Give me 2 seconds now, another one. A really good point just at the end there, thanks, just about the confidentiality at the table or later on. I mean, look, we're all having one-to-ones, we're all talking to each other, we're all sharing, we'll get more trust as we go along, but, you know, do respect it from where we're all at right now in terms of confidentiality. I think that's fair. Some people reflected about stories and bringing, actually, I think it was table 8, bringing the human people involved and all that, and that's why we have this lived experience group. We do have to tread carefully in terms of this process because there are understanding legal issues in terms of somebody explaining their position and their story, but we will and we have working with the group around how we do that in a very safe way. So work with us or trust us for a while on that one, but we do want to make sure the experience lands. And today was, I think, a safe way, a good way of doing that as well. So, Cathal, do you want to make any comments just on that before we go off camera?
I think Paul has covered all the territory, really. Yeah, we will follow up. The members area of the website will have resources which will include, for example, information and rationale for why certain terminology and language around people who use drugs can be offensive, and there's better ways to phrase that. There isn't any universal agreement, but we'll give you some language and we'll give you some documents and perspectives that will help you sort of read yourself into that a little bit more if you want. On the terminology, the technical terminology, we have a video, I think, that the EMCDDA has produced that we may play tomorrow, which might just be a little bit of a useful primer on some of the different terminologies and distinctions between different technical terms. It's only 3 minutes long, so Paul won't mind if we create a little bit of space there. But that's it, really. Thank you for an amazing day. Paul, do you want to wrap up? And then after we go off air, just bear with me for 1 second.
Exactly, I was just going to. So we'll wrap up, and just from my perspective, you've been a dream to work with today. For 99 people to come together, you know, from such a range of regions and ages and profiles and gender, you've really come, I must say, I was saying to the team throughout the day, everybody feels and seems and looks like they're connected with all of this, and that's why you've put your time into this. So thanks for putting your time, and it certainly was demonstrated. As you sit at the top of the table here, you can see it. I've chaired conferences, I've been at conferences. You know when people are connected with the agenda, and you are truly connected with this agenda, so we're off to a good start. There will always be discussions, there will always be tensions, and there should be around the agenda items we are discussing, and there will be different views, so we want to keep that safe space for you with the facilitators to have that dialogue. But overall, I must say, it's a strong feeling of connection from everybody here today. I do want to thank all of our presenters who are here today with us. They really put a lot of work into this, and even that fireside chat, I was talking with Dervin MacDonald, who was doing the preparation and doing the interviews here today, and she herself, I do know, spent up to an hour with each of the panellists during this week, with ourselves all this week. So people are giving a lot to this process because they care. So we all care, and they care as well to give their time. So thanks to all the presenters in particular. Obviously, thanks to all the team. We'll give a better thanks to them tomorrow, just as we close out on the first assembly. But look, thanks to you. We're going to close the formal session now, and I really appreciate your support in keeping us to time today. So well done on all of that. Thank you very much.